It's the third Saturday of the month, which means we are back with TVGP's Game Club, this time for Tunic. I'm your host, Boston, playing this on the Series X, joined as always by Moonpier.
Howdy, give me that Series X, baby!
And Musum.
Series X.
Alright. Let's talk about all the game's deets here before we really get into it. This game was released on March 16th, 2022, also known as last month. Published by Finji, developed by Andrew Schuldis, who had some help from some other peeps sort of ongoing, largely in the art department, but solo developed for about 6 years of the development cycle. Came out on Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. Composed by Lifeformed and Janice Kwan. Let's do time travel here. Metacritic and OpenCritic, both at 85. Peers for the release date from last month: Gran Turismo 7, Triangle Strategy, Ghostwire Tokyo, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Ask a question we ask every month: top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked?
I feel like it's top of the pile. This was very highly critically received, and while I had not heard of it before it had come out, when it hit, half the Giant Bombcast was tweeting about it.
Right.
Yeah. Old I knew.
I'm probably in the middle of top of the pile and middle of the pack. Because I think if you're like me and the Tunic brainworms have been eating at you for the last 7 years, then it's been top of mind for a very long time. But if not, then it's just sort of this... I think it came out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's a cute Fox Zelda, great, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm torn, to be completely honest. I would probably say it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Like, top of the pile for my circles, middle of the road generally. But it probably should be top of the pile because this game needs to be talked about by everybody because, oh boy.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the game itself. Special note here, this is usually the case, but I'm especially going to mention it this month. Spoilers. If you have not played Tunic at all, if you've never fired up Tunic, go away. Spend some time with the cute fox on a big adventure, and then come back after you have walked to the golden path. If you don't know what that means, you definitely should leave right now. So please go play Tunic as spoiler free and as blind as humanly possible. And if you're leaving us now, thank you, and we will see you when you have finished it. Go play Tunic; it's on Game Pass. Okay, so Musum and I were talking at the all of us have had a rough month. let's put it mildly there. So schedules have been rough. I've been out of my house for an extended period of time. Things have been tight schedule wise. So I know Musum hasn't finished the game. Moon, where did you end up sort of progress wise?
And this will mean nothing to anybody who hasn't played it. I am currently in the ghost world. I believe I am walking the path, we'll say. But I
not yet.
The path.
Yeah.
First.
You're not walking the golden path yet, but you'll do that soon.
Yeah, I had to make the decision of, do I fight the last boss now? And I actually texted you, I think, this morning because I finished work. And I came home and I was going to try and beat the last boss with ghost form activated.
Yeah.
Which is doable.
Spicy.
And I'm a Dark Souls pro, so, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go and explore. And then I fell asleep. And then the show happened, so.
I turned on the can't die mode. Because after my first few sessions, I was like, I have so little time to actually game this month. Like, if I'm going to have any chance at this, I can't play something where I'm going to repetitively die. So
yeah, exactly.
I turned that off and then started trying to rush through it. And like I was telling Boston before the cast, it's when this is not a game you want to rush through because details are or how you solve it. So it's like I've been playing this game for hours, and then today, like, I finally stopped. I was looking at the instruction manual. I'm like, because I've got like a dozen, or I don't know. I got a large chunk. I have no idea how big this manual is, but I have at least like, I don't know, 10 pages or something like that.
There are 55 pages, including the front and back cover.
Oh, great. Including front and back. Okay, that gives me a little hope.
Yeah. The front and back cover are both very important, of course.
Okay.
Of course they are in Tunic.
Yes.
The
you mean like 50 pages as in a 100-page manual? Like you find one page, you always get two, right?
Yeah, so when you're flipping through you only pick up whatever 55 divided by 2 turns out to be, you know, including the front and back. So like every time you pick up a page, it gives you like page 11 and page 12. So there aren't 110 pickups. There's just
Gotcha. Well, anyway, I appreciate the game having the no-kill mode in it.
I wish I knew about that. Yeah.
Because I probably I remembered that when we started playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I remembered that halfway through playing it, and then obviously, as you mentioned, difficult month this month. So I played a lot of this game, streaming it in a horrible internet connection to my tablet.
Wow, sure.
Oof.
Specifically, boss fights, streaming it to my tablet.
Right.
And I forgot about that mode.
Yeah. I wish I had remembered that mode. I wish I had known that mode was there specifically for one boss fight and one area, because that would have made my frustration level way lower for both of those things.
The giant tank. Tell me it was the giant tank.
No, that thing was easy. It was the thing underneath the quarry where you take that giant elevator down, and there's all those like spidery enemies, the like pink spidery ones that take your health away when they hit you. And then that boss, the blue gem boss, very difficult. I beat the game the whole way through without God mode once, but I also did not beat the final boss for reasons we will talk about here in a little bit. But my progress, 100% of the game, I walked the golden path. I got ending B. I did not get the heir to the heir ending, which is ending A. Ending B is the share your knowledge ending. And I really wish I would have known about God mode. Thankfully, I didn't have to fight that final boss because I watched that fight, and that's intense. That's real spicy.
Well, they have like 2 legs to God mode too. They have the health part, and then they also have the stamina part.
That would have been nice.
Interesting.
Man, maybe for my next playthrough.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I was just gonna say how much I love the concept. Like I feel like a lot of games nowadays, like you're put in a place where we kind of expect, a really good, well-designed game is gonna hide its tutorial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're just gonna learn the game through either the game's visual language or something else. And the thing I love about this game is it kind of does both,
right?
Because it forces you to like experiment, but it also is like your reward is a page of the instruction manual that tells you how to play the game now.
Right. That is also untranslated. Like the first item you pick up, the in-game language pops up and it says yes or no. It's like, yes? And you get a piece of the instruction manual and you're like, great. Oh, that's in the same language. Interesting. Okay, cool. There are a couple of words I can read here, but all right, okay. I guess I'll just have to. Oh, I found a stick. Great.
I'm not gonna lie. My favorite thing about the instruction manual is the handwritten notes.
Oh,
kill me every single time.
There are a couple of really great notes in there that I kind of missed the first time. The Holy Cross notes, especially, I missed, where the game shows you. The game teaches you the Holy Cross, and shows you how you should have figured it out already. And as soon as those like arrows were drawn on the picture in the instruction manual, I was like, oh my god, how did I... Okay, cool. Oh, now that I know that, I know so many more things. Oh no.
Yeah, so... the doors.
Yes.
So, actually, let's talk about this. So, one of the things that I absolutely adore about this game is it is a Souls game. People can argue with me, whatever. It's a Souls game.
Yep.
The difference is this is a Souls game that is accessible and light. This isn't designed to kick you in the teeth with difficulty. This is designed to kick you in the teeth with discovery. There is a very big difference there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things was, like, I think it was after the Forest Guardian or the Forest Key. You get the page of the instruction manual, and I've only got half of the page for it, by the way, so I don't know what the other half is.
Right.
But it's showing the image of the fox doing the kneeling animation.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And it shows the big towers.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I could have been doing this from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been doing this from the very start. And then literally, as you leave that first fight, you walk past one of the golden platforms on the ground, and you're like,
yep.
I wonder.
Uh-huh. And you go do the thing, and you disappear, and I was just like, what did I do? Oh, I'm not dead, thank God.
Yeah. And you learn about fast travel naturally just through experimentation, which I absolutely think I think that was the thing that really. If you hear my mic rocking, folks, I apologize. That's my cat cleaning her face on it.
Right. But that's one of the reasons why I love this game, and that's one of the reasons why I loved The Witness and Fez. All three of these games share that same DNA of the pacing being impeccable. The pacing in Tunic, through every single instruction manual page you get, like you're kind of like banging your head up against a dead end, and you're like, I just don't know what to do. And either at that point you see something that kind of like lights a spark for something you've seen in the instruction manual, or you get a new page that shows you like that kneeling thing where you're like, oh, okay, I've seen a couple of those things. All right, I need to do this near it and something will happen. And then, like you said, you see one of those gold platforms and you're like, that's one of the first things you see in the game. And the turn of the gold platforms is so great because you do that on the first one you see, and it brings you to like the ghost world, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, I see this. What if I go to that very first one, and going in the very first one traps you in the ghost world with like no exit, and then it turns that around again much, much later. And that's why I love
an instruction page as well, which is why I like when you go to the very, very first one.
Yep.
There's an instruction manual page there, which is a pretty serious one, I believe. I can't remember what it was, but it was an important one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I cannot sing the praises of the manual enough of just it manages to, it does the same thing that Game Center DX or CX did on the DS, where it so perfectly encapsulates a moment in time in a really creative way. This instruction manual is encapsulating you renting an NES game from Blockbuster, and somebody wrote a cheat code at the back of it, but you don't fully understand the cheat code. You just know if you put this code in, it does something. I don't even know what happened. And like some sort of half scribbled kind of notes, but the kind of genius of it, of almost none of it being translated, other than, you know, one of the first pages you pick up is the that first boss that has the 3-colored eyes, and it's like, this boss will try to kill you. You should try and be this strong. And you're like, 3, 3, and 2? What's wrong with what? Like, what am I doing? I don't even. And like Musum said, one of the last couple of pages he got was the powering up yourself, and you're like, the things I've been, yes, okay, cool. Now I'm way stronger. Great.
It's funny because I got that page a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and just was like I assume this is what everyone does, is you wander around the game until you get stuck on something. You're like, I guess maybe I'll scrounge for clues in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those moments of, how long have I had this page? I could have been leveling up this whole time. I just blew all my money on this coin that I threw down a well, which...
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. Thankfully, that does do something. I wish I had found more coins. Good. I'm missing like 3 of them, and it's driving me crazy. But yeah, even like, by the time they teach you the Holy Cross, by the time they teach you the summoning spell, like all of this stuff they're teaching you is just sort of like, oh, okay, this stuff I've seen, you know, when like you're zooming in on the instruction manual, and like, all right, there's like a drawing over here that someone made. Is that important? And then like 10 hours later, you're like, yes, that was very important. I need to go do this thing over in that space to go make this happen. The point that Moon's at right now is sort of like, how do I get out of this situation I'm in? What are all of these candle drawings for? Oh, that's what they're for.
Yep. Also, what's going on with all the ghosty foxes all around the world?
Mm-hmm.
Why are all the paths changed?
Yep.
Is this an inverse castle I'm basically doing?
Yep. Yeah, and I think this game will get most of its praise, correctly so, for being a really good puzzle discovery thing. I've been calling it cute Zelda Dark Souls, because it's kind of a mash between all of that stuff. But I think the combat is really solid. I think it feels really good. Every upgrade you get is a pretty significant upgrade, especially like your strength and your health. Both of those are very impactful. And I like the collection of weapons and like items you get. Like going through the world, you kind of see those hook shot things. Like there's a little hook coming out of the ground, and you're like, yeah, I'll get a hook shot.
Forks.
Yeah, and you see the tuning forks, and I'm like, it doesn't do anything when I hit them. And then later on, you get the equivalent of the hook shot, and you're like, oh, cool, I can hook onto these. Oh, no, I can do way more than I was expecting. And did either of you guys play The Witness?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, because it was a PlayStation exclusive, and I didn't have a PlayStation at the time.
Right. You can go play it on Game Pass now.
Dude, it was Games of Gold like a year ago.
Perfect. You already have it. There's a moment in The Witness. If you finish The Witness, you'll know what the moment is. But there's very much a moment of the game showing you 2 things side by side. Where you're like, oh, that's really easy, and then it kind of like opens your brain to the rest of the game, and you're just like, oh, okay. There's a really great moment in this game when you learn the Holy Cross, and it shows you how to do it, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, I know where to do that. No big deal. And of course, I like super cockily march over to that big gold door that's kind of standing in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, I've got this solved, and it doesn't work. And you're like, the what? But I know the spell, and like if you take a minute to look at it, you're just like, oh, I did know the spell, but not in the way that I thought. Okay. And then
so I don't 100% know what the Holy Cross is, but I think based on context clues, I think I've semi figured it out because I randomly opened one of the grey doors.
yes, that is the Holy Cross.
Okay, because the only reason I figured that out was because I'm just gonna experiment and try things out with this grey door, and what I tried worked. And it was ironically enough because it looked like a witness puzzle is why I figured it out.
Yeah, I'm looking here at I have a scan of the manual here. Page 43 and 44 teaches you the gold cross and or the Holy Cross and how you get to that solution, and then points you at the golden path, which is the very final puzzle in the game, and it's one of the great puzzles in this game of figuring out what the Holy Cross does and then figuring out how to manipulate that, and then figuring out by the time you get to the golden path, realizing that there's way more in this game than you first noticed. It very much in the way that like Fez and the Witness was, where it's like, oh, okay, now I'm sort of seeing these things, and you just like start experimenting, and you're like, no, that is very much the thing that this is. Now I have like way more puzzles to solve in this game in kind of an exciting way. God, there's so much to this game that I want to talk about, and I don't even know where to continue.
It's difficult to know how. Like, I mean, can we talk about the potential New Game Plus implications for this game? Like, just knowing where shortcuts are is like absolutely ridiculous. There is a missable achievement in this game, which I did miss. Spoiler alert, because you have to get the gun
right
before you get the sword.
Yeah, the gun is way in there, like all the way in the game. There's also,
and weirdly enough, now I know exactly where to go to get it because now I know all the shortcuts.
Yeah, there's a really funny gray door you can open that just has the sword in it, and it's like maybe 2 minutes after the beginning of the game, which is really good. The game is very much like, you already have one of these, you don't need another one. I was like, all right, if you're doing a speed run, you just go 2 minutes over here, do the thing, get the sword, and then you're kind of sold.
This game is going to be insane for speedrunners.
Yep. It's going to be really good. I really liked all of the boss fights. I didn't fight the end boss because if you do the Golden Path ending, you'll get the reward for the Golden Path ending is the final page for the instruction manual. You need all of the other ones to get that page, and as part of the sort of B ending, the true ending, you don't have to fight the boss. Neither of you guys have done it yet, so I'm not going to spoil it. But
is it the air still? Because that is a nasty fight.
No. No, all I was going to say is I liked a lot of the boss fights in the game, because you kind of have like that war machine in the forest, you have the librarian, and you have the scavenger leader. Those are kind of like the three main bosses. I thought all of those were really good for kind of very different reasons. I mentioned this on Twitter a couple weeks ago. That reminds me, this is a spoiler for Musum, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But your main focus for the game is go get the 3 keys, put them into the thing, that will lead to something. And
you want to name the achievement, what you get when that happens?
Yeah, my favorite moment is you pop all 3 of them in, and then nothing happens, and like a couple of seconds later, the achievement pops up that says, now what? And I was like, great, I had just said that out loud. Perfect.
Yep.
That's a really good. And then kind of the turn of, oh, I guess I'll go do the end game thing. Whoops. Nope. Now I'm a ghost box. Oh no, there's way more game here.
It's awesome.
Yeah. The power you get as the ghost fox is also really good. I had been sort of slamming my head against one area, and the game had very clearly told me how to get into this area if I had just gone and tried to finish the game. It was one of those moments where I'm like, oh, that's why this door is going to open now? Right. Gotcha. Okay. God, what else?
I do want to say, like, I feel like this game, like, it kind of feels almost like a AAA game. Like, the graphics are fantastic. Like,
They're very good.
It reminds me like a little bit of 3D Dot Game Heroes, except like infinitely better looking.
Right.
Granted, 2 generations of console between, but like, you don't really see any visual glitches anywhere that I've noticed, at least. I think the music's fantastic. They have lots of nice, here's the song, and then you walk into a cave, and then here's a different, like, it's not quite like Pixel Tune or anything like that, but here's a different quality version of that same song because you went in here.
Talking about chiptune, you hear there are 2 versions of every song. One of them is in-game, and one of them is when you're looking at the manual, and you can hit a button to, like, I think you click in the right stick, I think, to pull the manual down, like to hold the manual down, and you can see on the CRT TV that's behind the manual, you can see the game if it was like running on a bad tube TV, and there's a chiptune version of every song playing through that TV while you're looking at the instruction manual. Like,
oh, that's amazing.
There's so much stuff in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Like, the music is so good. It's so good. Like, this is one of those games where I have been not listening to a podcast while I'm playing because I've just like had it running, like the music running in the background, which is a little bit rare for me. And it's at the point where, like, even when I was streaming it to my tablet, I would still like just leave it paused and go and do chores or whatever while I was doing that, and just listen to it beeping out, listen to the music coming out of the tablet. It was just so good.
Yeah, as soon as I beat this game, I bought the soundtrack on Bandcamp. Like, it's like something like 40 tracks altogether. Okay. Like, it's really... I've been a big fan of Lifeformed in general ever since his soundtrack for Dust Force, like years and years and years ago. He also did the Double Fine documentary soundtrack. So he's done a couple of pretty big things, but nice to see him doing this stuff again, because he's really great.
God, cool. He's from Taiwan, evidently, too.
Yep. Gosh, what else? There's so much. In this game. I don't want to.
You guys can spoil me on anything. Like, I'm gonna probably take a break from it for a couple weeks and then go back to it. So,
well, I don't really want to spoil the Golden Path, because part of the reason why I like this game so much is because I got the 100% ending without looking anything up, and for me, that was so rewarding of just having that, like, aha moment happen again and again and again. And then when you get to the Golden Path, you're like, now all of this stuff I've been seeing this entire game has been making sense. I really need to go get a really big piece of paper right now. And, like, finally essentially getting through the giant door at the top of the snowy mountain that's been, like, taunting you the entire game. Like, getting through that was an incredible moment. Like, all the stuff working up to that and, like, drawing out that entire thing on this big piece of paper. I wish I had brought it with me so I could hold it up on camera, but
the worst thing is I know exactly what you're talking about because I have that page of the instruction manual.
Yep, and it's just like putting all that knowledge together until you're like, all right, now I think I can put all of this stuff together, and now I think I can start solving these additional puzzles and problems. It's really great.
The game does an incredible job of slowly bringing you in. Like, let's talk about that. It's not a dump you in. Let's talk about Elden Ring for a second here. There is a hole that you fall into at the beginning of Elden Ring that you have to choose to jump into at the beginning of Elden Ring. That is the tutorial.
Right. It's like darkened corner has a hole in it.
Let's talk about how that's terrible game design for a second here, because if you have been told about From Software games, you're not going to jump down the hole.
Right.
If you know about From Software games, you're not going to jump down the hole if you've played them.
Right.
If you are a super hyper pro at From Software games, you're going to jump down the hole because you want to see what the challenge is down there. And then you get down there and find out it's the tutorial. It's like, that's just bad game design, in my opinion. Whereas in this, there is never a moment like that where it's just like, yeah, you're stumped, but there's no reason why you would be stuck forever. Like, anytime I felt a little bit stuck, it was just like, okay, I'm just going to look at the instruction manual. Like,
I think you put it the right way. Like, you're stumped, but you're not stuck. Like, you're not trapped in an area. You haven't hit a dead end or anything. You might have hit a brick wall where you're like, I sort of don't know what I'm going to do here, but okay. Like, I'll keep poking around, keep flipping through the manual, I guess. And like, I appreciate that this game was never, it is a difficult game if you don't have God mode on, which again, I'm not ever going to judge anybody for putting on God mode. But I like that it never felt cruel about it. Like, you don't even start off with a weapon. Like, one of the first things you pick up is a stick, and you're like, okay, well, that's probably my weapon. I can do something with that. It naturally gates you off from a whole bunch of stuff until you go get the sword, which is really smart. I have seen some people complaining that, this is a game that it doesn't even tell you anything. It doesn't even start you with a weapon. Or I saw one particularly negative review today saying, like, well, you have to solve it with friends. You and a bunch of friends have to be playing it on a Discord server. Otherwise, you're never going to get anything. It's like, well, you should have a little bit more faith in yourself, because I think, like I said, the pacing in this game is impeccable. Very, very much like Witness. There's that famous, maybe infamous YouTube review of The Witness saying, like, how am I supposed to solve this puzzle? It's the very first tree puzzle you run into, and it's like, it right there, man. It's literally right on the screen. And I think that's the same case for Tunic, but that was pointed at myself mostly, where I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, it's literally in the instruction manual. You just needed to take all the new information you gathered and focus it and flip to page 12 or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, I should go do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, just take a beat.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you get stuck, Google it. Guess what? So what? Who cares?
Yeah.
But just take a beat and have a glance around.
I think I was listening to an interview with the developer and Patrick Klepek before we were on this, and I think he had the right attitude as someone who's making this game. He said, I don't care if you look up every answer. Like, I want you to play the game how you want to play it. Just don't spoil it for anybody else. Like, spoil it for yourself. That's fine. Just don't spoil it for anybody else. And he was really happy with the community that sprung up around this game that is very much doing the same thing that I was doing to the Nymph, where he's in the same spot that he was in the same spot that you are right now, Moon. And he's kind of like, well, what do I do now? And I was able to give him like tiny, gentle little nudges where it's like, well, how how about this stuff? Or have you done these things? Or how about this? Instead of like, oh, you needed to go do X, Y, and Z and, try and do this thing over here and do this thing over here. He was very happy with the community surrounding it, doing either like, some people like to do like a string of emojis, and that will kind of give you a gentle nudge, or saying like, I saw someone saying like, you learned Holy Cross and it didn't work here. Why didn't it work here? And someone was like, oh, yes, gotcha. Now I know something. Now I know a little bit more, and I can go discover some more stuff. Yeah, it's this is very much a game for me. Just like Fez and the Witness development issues aside, Tunic is now one of my favorite games of all time, hands down. It's and just like Fez and just like the Witness, I think a large part of that is probably me 100%ing the game by myself, which is kind of my preferred method of tackling games like these. I love The Witness because my wife and I played through it together. She figured out half the puzzles that my brain wouldn't figure out. I figured the other half of the puzzles out. And that sort of influenced positively how I feel about that game. Same with this thing, where it's my kid and I sitting there playing together. She's not solving the puzzles or anything. She's just getting grumpy when the cute fox passes out and I have to start back over. But I really love Tunic, and I hope people play it. I hope people take the time to sit down and enjoy it. I hope it comes to more stuff, especially Switch, and I hope people can go play it without being spoiled and kind of take as much of this journey as they can and enjoy Tunic.
Yeah. Quick shout out as well for the lighting in this game, by the way.
Oh, it's so good.
Like it's ridiculous how good that lighting is.
Yeah. Any final? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you sounded like you're already giving final thoughts.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, like, even from the bit I played, which admittingly wasn't like, I definitely spent hours and several, more than 3 evenings, like probably, I don't know, 5 or 6. I'm slow at puzzle games, but also I was in a rush. But it seems like a really well-tuned, well-refined experience that I'm just going to have to come back when I can breathe and play through it slowly and at my pace, because this was not the month for that. But I think this will have a wide appeal. Like, I had a friend over last night who was watching me play it, and like, I'd been telling him, like, he only plays games on Switch. He doesn't get anything else.
Sure.
And I'd been trying to talk him into this game since I started it a few weeks back. I'm like, man, this is like Zelda meets Dark Souls meets Fez. He's like, oh really? And then, and then like, he witnessed, I can't remember what I just figured out last night, but I figured out some odd thing from the manual, and I feel like he started buying into whatever he was seeing on the screen. So
yeah, I feel like there's that great moment where you figure out like one of those first big puzzles, like especially for me, it was upgrading your stats, where it's like, oh, okay, so I'm picking up all these things that I thought were items that I could use, but they turn out to be stat upgrades. Okay, maybe there's something else here, kind of in between the lines.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I picked up one of those little cards with the little holes in the corner.
Yep.
And he's like, "What's that?" I'm like, I never actually. I think it's just in my inventory. I'm not sure where it is. And I looked. I'm like, where is it in my inventory?
Right.
And then you click on that box, and like, oh, I can equip one for some reason. I have no idea what this means.
Right. You know as much as I do. Yeah. Moon, final thoughts on Tunic, if you have any extra ones.
Oh, it's great. I'm looking forward to going back in and figuring out everything that I missed so far.
Yep.
Because it sounded like, I honestly thought I was closer to the end of the game than I thought I was, but it doesn't sound like I'm actually that close at all. So fun for everyone, I guess.
I feel like the point you're at is where everything I was doing in Tunic was making me very, very happy about putting all of these past like 10, 15 hours of secrets together, and kind of making these, especially when you get the like your very last ability, and you kind of see everything else you can do with that. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's an ability I'm missing, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll ask you a pointed question once we're done, just in case someone listening hasn't figured it out yet. But once you get it, you will very much know. But it's kind of tricky to get to. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game is great. You should go play it.
Yeah. 100%. All right, let's talk about the next game we're going to be playing. We're going to be checking out Life is Strange True Colors. Came out on Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, PC, and Stadia. This is another one that we're sort of, as I'll say on Critical Misses, we're sort of catching up on all the hits we've missed. So we hit Tunic here. We're going to do Life is Strange True Colors. Looking for stuff that's maybe a little bit shorter. Since, as we talked about, our schedules are a little bit tight lately. Trying to hit that 10 to 12 hour mark. And hopefully Life is Strange True Colors will meet that. And we hope you'll join us next month for that episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.